Friends, today have I got something for you. Are you looking at a beautiful guitar like a semi-hollow body center block with an awesome name like the G5655TQM in Hudson Sky from Gretsch? Well, if you are and you need a name just like that, I got it for you. Stay tuned, we're talking about it now. Hey, we're gonna jump right off this. I wanna share with you something a lot of fun. So let's get with the rhythm section for L, Kings, X's, and O's. What'd you think? A beautiful song, right? I love the song and a lot of fun to play on this guitar. I think the chicken picking kind of rockabilly feel that I added to it really matches, really sounds good. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, but I absolutely loved it. It really fits with this guitar. Let's talk a little bit about how the guitar came when I first got it. Hey friends, and welcome back to the party. Rob here. Today we're gonna be talking about this amazing Gretsch semi-hollow guitar. This is a Hudson Sky with the great name of the Electromatic Center Block Junior 5655 TQM. What a name. In Hudson Sky Blue. So the guitar itself is about 14.5 inches across at the bottom. It's got the single cut body shape, but it is a semi-hollow with a trestle block bracing. There's a couple things about that, but that means that we've got some acoustic resonance. And as you'll hear later, I got some tapping going on with my rhythmic style of strumming. I am a rhythm guitar player. I do a few fills and stuff like that. You'll hear those things as we go along, and I hope that you enjoy. Rhythm for me works great because I play and sing at the park. I play and sing for my friends and sometimes for my brides in my wedding business, and it's just the way that I learned to play. If you're a lead guy, you absolutely know you can shred on this thing. I don't do a lot of shredding, but if you're like me and you make your money in the cash register section with some fills up top and you play across the board, well, this will have you covered. So let's jump into it now. Let me share with you, the guitar is absolutely stunning. I want to give you a look at it from the top to the sides. Okay, not only is it beautiful, not only is it well put together, it's kind of expensive for what it is. To be quite honest with you, after looking at these, I've seen a couple of reviews. PMT UK, after I got this guitar, I saw that they were talking about maybe when people buy this guitar, sometimes when they buy the Electromatic series, instead they go ahead and walk out with 2 streamliners. I think I can understand that. After looking at this guitar through several different places and seeing the streamliners and the Electromatics in person, I don't necessarily know why you would get one over the other than maybe the quilted top. The blacktop Broadtrons are a very special pickup that they have in here. I like them quite a bit. Although I also like the regular Broadtrons, which were like the B2S, the B3S, and their other semi-hollow or center block guitars. So it really just depends on what you want. Now, before we go any further, I'd like to share with you that this is not sponsored. If you like what I'm doing, hit the little Amazon link below to get your gear. Send me a cup of coffee through PayPal or using one of those Amazon links, that works too. And let's go ahead and just look at some cash register strumming. Stuff you would find right over here in the AD and E chords, where you're really gonna make your money if you're a rhythm guitarist. And even if you're just a singer-songwriter, you're probably doing it down here. So let's check it out. Yeah, that sounded really great, didn't it? We're gonna do one more of those, and I'd like to kind of bring up to you a little bit up the neck so that you can hear what it's like just to strum up the neck a little bit. So let's check that out. Well, if you didn't like that, then you ain't seen nothing yet. And that was a lot of fun. Now, what drew me to this guitar specifically was its size. It's really a Les Paul shape, not the weight. And it's not as big as their full hollow bodies that they've got. And when you think about this, we've got 14 inches across the bottom or 14 and a half inches across at the lower bout, which makes it a really nice size for me. I like that. It's kind of like the ES339 size, if you want to think of it about like that, but it's just got a single cutaway instead of two. I really like the way that it looks, number one, and the quilted maple top brought me to it more than anything else. I don't generally care for Bigsby's, and I had to do some stuff to get this to stay in tune and be in tune, which is the number one thing that you will find with any Bigsby is really a proper setup, and you won't have any of those issues that people talk about all the time. Now, I did all the work to the guitar myself. I've been working on guitars for 20 years. No problem for me setting up guitars, even replacing a neck if I needed to. We'd go ahead and do that. So I am extremely comfortable making a nut, filing the saddles or the blades on the saddles up here. There's no issue with that, but you may have to factor that in as a cost thing if you're not used to doing it. So let's talk about the Great, because those of you that want to hear, actually the guitar is an excellent guitar. I like it a lot. I don't love it, not because it doesn't sound great, but because I don't love it. It does grow on me quite a bit. I'm glad that I have it. I don't intend to get rid of it. It's got a spot in my repertoire for music, but it just, for me, it doesn't beat my Fender Player Plus. I just really like my Player Plus for all the reasons I like my Strat. Maybe that I'm just a Strat guy. But that out of the way, okay, slow down, Rob. I had to jump in here. I want you to hear some more sounds before we continue, so check this out. What'd you think of that nice little lead line that we were playing along with that song there? Do you remember what it was? Did you pick out the rhythm in your ear, the melody? If you did, comment down below. Let me share with you the things about this guitar which are really, really great. Number one, the nut and the intonation came from the factory, set up beautifully. The relief was excellent. I was at 18 thousandths on the treble and 20 thousandths on the bass at the first fret. That's amazing. When we came over here to the relief, I was at 3 thousandths of the neck. That was really flat. Basically, a quarter, or a little more than a quarter, a little less than a half of a turn got me around to 8 thousandths relief in the neck over here at the 8th fret, which was great. The intonation over here with the bridge and the saddle placement was perfect. So intonating up the neck from the octaves, even when I'm going up in the first three positions right here, no pulling sharp, nothing crazy. Now, that's pretty much where the extent of all the excitement ends. Because for me, having a guitar that I've never had a guitar that came up intonated as nicely as this, other than my Taylors. When I get a Taylor, you buy something like the GT or the 300 or 400 series, they're solid bodies. You're going to get a nice guitar. Even some of my Martins have had to intonate and things separately myself, which is okay. There's no problem. I was just really impressed with that. Let's move over to the fretboard. I absolutely love the fretboard. It's beautiful. It's Indian laurel, and it feels great. I don't mind that it's not rosewood or ebony. That's perfectly fine with me. I think that the board looks great. I love the thumbnail inlays and the neoclassic inlays. A couple of cool things about the neoclassic inlays. I think they're done really well here. The CNC machining is perfect. There is no filler that I can tell around the CNC acrylic pieces, which is pretty cool. Sometimes you'll see a little gap or a line of filler, so it looks really nice. And the binding, this is double bound on the front and the back, which is real nice. We've got a line of purfling as well as a second bind. There's actually appears to be 3 line, a black, white, black, and then the binding, which is pretty cool if you ask me. And of course, Gretsch does a great job with the strap locks, the strap buttons. These are locking strap buttons because they screw on. I think everybody should have something like that. That's really, really good. As far as the details, fit, and finish, there's 0 flaw in this guitar. And maybe you can see that quilted maple on the back. In the light on stage, it just pops, man. It's amazing. I like it quite a bit. The profile of the neck is, for me, amazing. It's very Strat-like. It's a wide U, or maybe, I don't know. It feels like a wide U. They may call it a C. There's a little bit of asymmetricalness to it, but not in the actual contour, just in the width, which pretty much happens to all guitars. It gets wider as you get closer to the body, which is fine. And I like it a lot. As far as chording, it's not bad for chording, or a little bit of fills at a 12-inch radius, which is great. Everything that we've talked about right now has been pretty standard par for the course. Wouldn't it be great to hear a song that just makes you think of weddings, something that you might actually use this guitar to play to make some money, that you could make a lot of cash with? Wouldn't that just be perfect? Let's hear it now. So there you go. You've heard a lot of nice tones. Those backing tracks were recorded on my Strat using a drum kit. It just sounds nice. I wanted you to be able to hear how the guitar sounded in the mix from a rhythm guy that was playing a few lead fills and stuff like that. Maybe you're somewhere in that same kind of position just like me. You want to make some money. I make cash with this when I go out to weddings and I play. I DJ. I've got a wedding photography, videography company. You guys know that. So if you've seen that, these are things that I use as tools to help just add a little bit of spice and variety to my regular main source of business. And I have a lot of fun with it. Okay, let's keep on talking about the review and what I didn't like so much about the guitar. Now, when we come up to the Electromatic headstock, I think there's something that they could have done here, which would have been nice. We do have some mother of pearl, which is the Gretsch headstocks, but wouldn't it have been nice? This is a $1,000 guitar for it to get some kind of little badge or something, or maybe for them to continue the quilted maple on the top rather than this black painted headstock. Had I been able to do something like that, it would have felt like that extra $100 I paid really did something, because other than that, here's where things start to go wrong. I didn't get anything extra for my $100 other than the quilted maple top. Let me talk to you. They've got the same thing, but without the quilted maple top, it's $100 less. So $8.99 instead of $9.99. So you pay $9.99 and we don't even get locking tuners. Now I got to tell you about these tuners, guys. This is on my copy and they are unbranded and they're terrible. Okay. The E and the D string themselves have binding in them and flip, right? They don't work well. So as I'm tuning, it jumps. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. That's both on the E and the D. I was hopeful that I could do some adjustment because they have the adjustment screw on the front. That really didn't do anything. Because of that, that really soured my opinion of a lot of this guitar, because you pay the extra money, you get the quilted top, and then the tuning experience is rough. That will make any guitarist upset, because when it doesn't tune properly, you can't stay in tune. Now that brings me to my next point. Getting this thing to stay in tune required 3 very important things: a change of strings and a change of gauge, shaping the nut properly, and of course widening it for the new gauge of strings, and then polishing and filing the saddles on the bridge so that the strings would move freely. This is an Adjustomatic bridge, which means it actually rocks slightly as you use the Bigsby. Now, I don't use a vibrato or tremolo, arguing the comments amongst yourselves about what you want to call it. I don't use that very often. The way I have my Strat bridge set up is floating, so that when I put my palm on it for the way that I strum, I can actually create the tremolo effect or the vibrato effect as I'm playing because the bridge is floating. This one's way different, but I like this bridge a lot. And actually, I do like Bigspees. I know earlier I said I don't care for them or don't use them that much. That's not actually the truth. I like them a lot. I think they're a cool piece of rock and roll hardware, and I think they work well when you set them up. So what did I do? I filed the nut properly, which was filed fine. It just wasn't shaped. Because it was still its same height, the 10 to 46 strings, which are Gretsch branded, like Fender brand, or PRS branded. I don't like the branded strings. I just don't buy them. The ones that came on it would not stay in tune because they just would not stop stretching. I like D'Addario and Elixir quite a bit, as well as Ernie Ball, because they stretch pretty standard, and within a couple of hours, you're all set up. Okay, that part out of the way. What I ended up doing was replacing the strings and going to 11s. And this is a Ernie Ball custom pure nickel set, which is 11 to 48. So it's a little bit bassier on the end and a little bit more mellow. And that's something that was important for me because as the guitar ships with the 10 to 46 steel and nickel plated strings, well, it's really, really bitey. It's nasally and really, really, really ice picky. So for me, a little bit mellower of a string is something that I'm going for. That complements my play style. Maybe for you, there's something different there. Okay, before we get into any more of this, let's just finish up this conversation here with what happened with the neck. After I changed the strings, filed the nut, and shaped it, I then got out the Dremel and polished this up to 12,000 grit, like auto body paste or whatever. So it's still nice and shiny, and the chrome isn't sticky. Then I used chapstick, beeswax, to lubricate the saddles and just put on the new strings. Guess what? Now we're good to go. After all that demo right there, yeah, we're still in tune. And that's excellent. Check it out. So there you have it. Do I like the guitar? Absolutely. I think it's a great guitar. I like it quite a bit. Was it worth the extra $100 upgrade for the quilted maple top? Debatable. I really like the top. That's the only way to get it, so there's not much to argue about. Do I wish it had better tuners? Absolutely. What do I think about intonation and stuff? Actually, I think that it probably would have worked wonderfully with just a new set of 10 to 46 strings on it. That's what Gretsch recommends. I like the 11 to 48, but that's my preference. However, the strings that came on it, you want to get rid of them as soon as you can. They're just trash, in my opinion. As far as the sound, I think it sounds like $1 million, which is great because I only paid $1,000 for it. So I made a really good return on investment. Can you make money with something like this? Absolutely. I don't think that there are really any bad guitars being produced anymore, especially once you hit a certain price point. They're just different guitars. So if you like it and you like the quilted maple top, they have it in a bunch of different colors. Go for it. But just keep in mind, you will need new tuners and probably a little bit of extra work with the Bigsby. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Guys, I want to thank you so much for watching. I'll remind you, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Use those Amazon links and PayPal to send me a cup of coffee and say super thanks. Bye for now.